Pressure? What pressure? There's no pressure in Formula 1. What are you talking about? Jack Doohan has no pressure on him whatsoever right now, especially after Colapinto has arrived. Don't worry, you're just being paranoid. That's not what's going on here. That's what they're claiming anyway. Apparently, there is no pressure on Doohan because of Colapinto arriving at the team, which I will give my thoughts on at the end of the video. This is a topic really that has ignited a lot of debate in the comments, a lot of good debate as well in the comments, especially on YouTube. I really appreciate your guys' input. Some very valid points being raised in there, and I'm going to speak through those as well. I'm going to go through those, or at least mention some of them during this video at the end. But let's go through this story first of all, guys. Full article on the F1Chronicle.com as always. Alpine has denied putting extra pressure on rookie Jack Doohan ahead of his Formula 1 debut. Rumours are swirling that the 22-year-old Australian is guaranteed only the first quarter of the 2025 season, with newly signed reserve driver Franco Colapinto poised to step in. Team advisor Flavio Briatore is not even denying it. If a driver doesn't deliver results, doesn't progress, he will be replaced, he told Le Parisien recently. You can't be emotional in Formula 1. An engineer and manager who knows Briatore well, Joan Villadeprat. That is miles off. I do apologise, Joan. Said he has seen this kind of situation unfold before. Briatore, knows what he wants, he told Dorolita podcast. He looks at young talent and wants it at any price, like he did with Michael Schumacher. Very true. And Fernando Alonso. He went for Colapinto because he is looking for the new Fernando Alonso. There we go. And the new Schumacher. Tellingly, both Colapinto and Doohan were together with Briatore at the Enstone factory this week at the same time. The flamboyant Italian even posted separate photos of himself with each driver on Instagram. No, they're not both here at the same time. It's purely coincidental, mate. As if Flav is bloody posting on Instagram. Like, the guy's 80 or whatever. Like, I don't even do that. Like, come on. Alpine team boss Oliver Oaks. If you're on Instagram, by the way, no disrespect. It's just my personal choice. Anyway, I'm joking. I'm joking around with that. However, said some of the speculation about Colapinto and his chances of replacing Doohan in 2025 has been over the top. Some of the stuff that has been written by the keyboard warriors about Jack was a bit harsh, he said. Those keyboard warriors, they love doing that. It's not about putting pressure on him, it's about giving the team options. A lot of people rely on a driver to perform every weekend, and we need to make sure that we have the best drivers in the cockpit, not just now but also for the future. Very valid point. Very valid point by Oliver Oaks there. And the whole situation's an interesting one. I mean, you know, I've definitely taken some of the comments that have been in my previous videos about this subject on board, you know, and I do get the points about them. I mean, for one, Flavio Briatore is apparently Jack Doohan's manager, which I never realised before, and that kind of puts a whole new picture on it. I think that Jack, therefore, has to be fully aware of the situation. And, you know, it is... Some people might say it's harsh, and I do get that point. I mean, the thing is, for me, that I didn't probably get across too well in my previous video about this, was that it's just a very strange situation. I mean, we've seen things similar to this at Red Bull, of course. Liam Lawson being ready to replace Daniel Ricciardo, Liam Lawson being ready to replace Sergio Perez as well recently. It's not completely unknown in Formula 1. It's a bit odd to see it outside of Red Bull, really, and that's why it's a bit strange. It's like you start the season fully knowing that this guy's going to last 5-6 races probably at the most, almost regardless of how he performs. That seems to be the perception. That might not happen. I believe it will happen, to be honest. I feel like that will happen to Jack. But, you know, at the end of the day, these things are all relative. And at least Jack Doohan is getting a chance in Formula 1. There's been a lot of drivers, a lot of very talented Formula 2 drivers, a lot of Formula 2 champions as well, that have not gotten a chance in F1. Think about Felipe Drugovich, think about Théo Pourchaire. You know, it's not always the case that these young drivers get a chance in Formula 1 when they deserve one. So at least he's getting an opportunity. So that's part of it, really. And at the end of the day, like Oliver Oaks has kind of alluded to, like Flavio Briatore has pretty much said as well, you know, you want the best cars, the best drivers in the best cars possible. And is Franco Colapinto better than Jack Doohan? Probably. I feel like we need to see Jack Doohan a little bit more to fully know, you know. I mean, what can't be denied, though, is that Franco Colapinto deserves a seat in Formula 1. He has proven himself, and he doesn't have that currently. Does that mean that he deserves a seat more than Jack Doohan? Right now, probably, yeah. And the thing is as well is that they're going to put Franco Colapinto in the car. You know, you don't pay $20 million, whether it's the sponsors, whether it's the team that have actually paid this, whoever's paid this money, you don't pay that amount of money and then just put someone off to the sidelines. You don't spend that much money on a third of reserve drivers. So that is what's going to happen. They're going to, they're going to invert the positions. They're going to swap basically at some point during the year. And listen, I get it. It is from a purely business and team point of view. It's not that big of an issue really, because like I said, Jack Doohan's going to be aware of the situation, so it's not going to be a case of like Daniel Ricciardo where, I mean, look, he might get upset, it might be a bit sad for him, his time in Formula 1's over, and that could be the end of his Formula 1 career potentially. I hope it's not. If he performs well, if he gets the odd point here and there in the Alpine at the start of 25, I feel like he should be back for, whether it's Alpine, whether it's for another team, don't know. They want to make sure that they've got the best drivers in the car and the best team of that. And you look at Benetton back in the early 2000s where we had, what do we have? We had Jenson Button, Fernando Alonso, Mark Webber and Giancarlo Fisichella were all in that team. I think Fizzy and Button were the two drivers. Alonso was the reserve and Mark Webber was the reserve as well. He'd go to Minardi the following year. Alonso would come and be in the race seat. It's like when they signed Fernando Alonso from Minardi, like they knew they were going to get him in the race car. They knew it was going to happen. You don't sign a talented youngster like that and keep him on the bench effectively for that long. And that's exactly what Flavio Briatore is doing with Colapinto. And I criticise Flavio Briatore a lot, but you can't knock this decision. For the team, as long as they can afford it, which they clearly can, then then it's fair enough. They want to have that. So I have no problem with that in a sense, and I'm excited to see Colapinto this year. I do feel for Jack in a sense, but he's still going to have a job. He's still going to be in and around Formula 1, and he's still got his opportunity. And a lot of people are saying, well, he's not, he's not a poor kid or anything like that. And he's not. He's the son of a 5-time MotoGP world champion. But it's still a bit of an odd situation in Formula 1. I've not really seen this too often. But, that's not Colapinto's fault. The guy is clearly talented enough for F1. He deserves a seat. And, yeah, we'll have to see. And plus, as well, one more thing to think about, too. What if down the line, Pierre Gasly gets taken? Pierre Gasly is a superb, talented driver. What if Alpine don't produce a good car this year and Gasly thinks, screw this, I'm going to go to, I don't know, Mercedes. I'm going to go to another team, right? Whatever. It might even be a team further down the grid, but one that's, a bigger pay packet or whatever. What if Pierre Gasly leaves? Then you've got to have a decent reserve driver or someone good to come in just in case. And that's what Jack Doohan would be in that situation. As unlikely as that is, it's a possibility. You can't deny that Gasly absolutely just held that team up on his shoulders pretty much throughout the entire season last season. I know Ocon got that second place, but aside from that, he was pretty woeful. So, Gasly's the real talent there. I'd be fascinated to see Gasly and Colapinto go head-to-head as well. That'd be a good battle. Those are two really exciting drivers in my opinion. Anyway. Those are my thoughts on it, guys. And I appreciate all your comments in the previous one as well. You guys have left some really insightful comments. And the thing is, right, one last thing before I go about the pressure, right? That's on every driver all the time. Colapinto's going to have it, Doohan's going to have it, Gasly's going to have it. They're all going to have it. That pressure in Formula 1 is immense, particularly if you're a rookie as well. Hamilton's going to have that pressure this season because he's at Ferrari. Leclerc's got that pressure this season because he's going to need to perform compared to his teammate, and that applies to every single driver. Whether they're experienced, whether they're a rookie, they all have massive pressure on them in Formula 1. Some of the more experienced drivers might be more used to it, of course, but that pressure's still there. It still exists. Anyway, I've gone off for a fair while now. What do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below as always. And yeah, we'll see you soon for some more F1 news and opinions right here on the F1Chronicle.com. See you soon, guys. Have a good one.